saying, all right, Jay, I hear you. But my problem is I don't have the resources they have. I grew up in the hood. I grew up like this. I don't have that. All right, follow me, people. Follow me on this. I'm from the same hood. Ain't nothing too special about me. I'm a normal person too. Here's what I realized at a fairly young age. I was like, all right, why everybody always talking about the problem? I find myself even now, even in my day job, in my corporate job, regardless of what I'm doing, I tend to be a solutions oriented person. So I get drained when people spend too much time glorifying the problem because the problem ends up becoming something that we just continue to feed so it continues to grow. Not saying that the problem ain't real. So follow me on that. Look, can I be real with y'all? Sometimes you got to take all the triggered emotions out of it when you get into a dialogue with me, because I'm really trying to get beyond the surface in a sincere and genuine way, not to offend people or whatever, but just to say, let's just be real, because this fake stuff bothers me. All this self-righteous, hypocritical surface talk, it bothers me. I can't do it. I can't do it. So when I was younger and people were glorifying the problem, I had to make a decision. Don't remind me, okay, I'm black. Okay, I'm from the hood. Okay, I don't got this. It's something in me, and I'm sure you can relate, that never wanted to be belittled. I never wanted to look at myself as less than. You're not better than me because you have more than me. You're not better than me because you live in a better place than me. You're not better than me because your parents make more money than mine. You're not better than me because you got 5 pair of jeans and I only got 2 pair of jeans. You're not better than me because you got your first car before me. You're not better than me. Like that. My thing is y'all could tell me every reason. And I feel like we live in a world today that wants to give you every reason and remind you for every reason why you shouldn't be doing something, why you can't overcome things. No, that ain't what the Bible say. God didn't tell me to walk around the world inferior. That ain't what Daniel did. Daniel didn't do that when they were captured by the Babylonians. We talk about the Daniel diet. Let's go on the Daniel diet. Did we read the book? Do we know what that even means? Daniel was confident enough in what their diet was where he even challenged the diet of the Babylonians. He's like, no, come back in however long and watch who's in better shape. Read the Bible and see how people got elevated in the kingdoms. They didn't get elevated because some preacher just walking up to you and saying, you elevated. It's like, Oprah, you get a car. That's what we want. That's what we want to believe. But what you don't know can hurt you. And I'm here to tell you, when you read the word of God, people rose above their situation. When David found himself walking in to a situation where the champion Goliath, a giant, was killing his people, and he went out there with a slingshot and 5 smooth stones and didn't even want to wear the armor because it was too big, how did he overcome if he was just a little boy tending to the sheep? Y'all got to read your word, because what you don't know can hurt you. You will be walking around in this life feeling inferior to everybody and everything and never getting anywhere because you are waiting on somebody to save you whose name ain't Jesus. What you don't know can hurt you. So my thing is this. Don't remind me of why I can't do something. Don't tell me, because I read Frederick Douglass' autobiography. I read Booker T. Washington's autobiography. And because everybody wants to remind me about slavery and tell me why, because my people were enslaved, what I can't do and the reason that I'm struggling, and everybody glorifies the struggle. So I went to the source. I'm like, well, let me go read what the slaves wrote. Bump what you say about slavery. I want to read what Frederick said. But what you talking about? You ain't never been no slave. You was born in 1990, bro. You ain't no slave. You wasn't even in civil rights time. Okay, cool. Let me go see what Booker T said. And y'all know what's crazy? Y'all know that when I'm reading the words of the enslaved people who overcame it, those are the people that I'm hearing who did not let their situation stop them. These are the people who were slaves and taught themselves how to read and write. Don't sit up here and tell me what you can't do. And you got YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, iPhone, iPad, a tablet, smart TVs. Like, come on, dude. The TV can't be smarter than you. It's people that'll watch 7 seasons or something on Netflix and then wake up out of that and tell me what they can't do. Well, yeah, you just wasted 16 hours. Of course you can't do it. But I read the words of Frederick Douglass. I read how important it was for him to learn how to read. Do you know that with Frederick Douglass? Let's talk about Frederick Douglass just for a quick second. What I'm trying to, the point of what I'm saying right now is that you could do less with more. You could do more with less. You could do more with less. Frederick Douglass was a slave. And at one point, I don't want to say this word because I don't know if social media is going to flag me or something. The N word, the N breaker. There was this guy that was called the N breaker, the Jigga breaker. Let's just call it Jigga. The Jigga breaker, the Jigger breaker, not the Jigga, Jigger, the Jigger breaker. So this guy, what happens is for their slave owner, for Frederick Douglass slave owner, if there was a slave that was too inspired, that had too much hope, that had too much belief, that had too much faith, they would send them to the Jigger breaker in hopes of breaking their spirit. See, Frederick Douglass was the type that'll fight his master. So you got to like, y'all ain't fighting, bro. Y'all just, they said cancel everybody on Instagram. I'm going to cancel them. Okay, they said go inject hot sauce in me. I'm going to just inject it. Like whatever everybody say, y'all just do it. But I'm reading the words of the slave. I'm reading the people that was there. And Frederick Douglass, they sent him to the Jigga breaker. Woo! First of all, you got to ask yourself why they sent you. You got to understand, like, only the best of the best getting sent to the Jigga breaker. I should have named this episode the Jigga breaker. I might change it. Only the best. If you're doing so good, if you got so much potential that they feel like the only way to kill your faith is to go and send you somewhere that's only going to remind you of how bad you are, only going to remind you of reasons why you can't become who you are. And the crazy thing about it is that's when they send you to the Jigga breaker. What up, Gina? So they sent Frederick Douglass to the Jigga breaker. And the crazy thing is Frederick Douglass said he almost broke him. Woo! But he was able to overcome it. What's my point with all that? Frederick Douglass had so much potential in him that his slave master tried to send him to someone who specialized in breaking his spirit. And Frederick Douglass, regardless of the fact that he was a slave, regardless of the fact that they sent him to the Jigga breaker, he became a person who was literally advising presidents. Taught himself how to read and write. Now you tell me. You telling me you can't overcome something? Like because it got a little hard? It's been tough for me too. Trust me, I've had my ups and downs in the last couple years. Life ain't all just peaches and cream. You get what I'm saying? But what I'm telling you is that it's something on the inside of you that the devil trying to send you to the Jigga breaker. The world tried to send the saints to the Jigga breaker. All last year, all the last 2 years on my podcast, I talked about being united by faith because I felt like the world was constantly reminding us of the turmoil of the racial tension of the 60s, the 50s, and the 1400s to try to make us hate each other today. And I'm telling y'all, they might have sent you to the Jigga breaker, fam, but there is potential in you to be greater and rise above your current situation. And if everybody else on the internet, if everybody else in the world is going to remind you of your trials and tribulations and tell you why you can't do something, I will proudly be on the Inspire God's People platform, the person that's going to tell you that you can break the Jigga breaker. Y'all ain't trying to hear me, dude. You can break the breaker, but you got to do something. You can't just keep qualifying for the assistance and going back to your master. All right, I'm about to be done in a second. This idea of doing less with more, I want to make it really plain for you. I did a short video this week, and maybe a couple of y'all saw it. I put it on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. It wasn't, some of my video, I do a video, I do 15 views, some do 1,500, some do 300. I really don't pay attention to it. Jigga breakers ain't breaking me, the algorithm. Let's see what you talking about, Meech. Trying is hard, but necessary, but hard isn't wrong. Thanks for the encouragement. Yeah, man, for sure, bro. For sure. Listen, what you say? Trying is hard, but it's necessary. See, y'all gotta break the breaker. You feel me, Jen? Like, see, here's the thing, Meech, before I go into my point. We gotta understand why it's necessary. We live life where we only focus on us so much. Y'all got kids out here. You ain't breaking the breaker just for you. You ain't overcoming what's tough just for you. It's like, bro, you don't want your kids on the assistance. And it ain't because you just don't want them on the assistance. You need to teach them how to not be on the assistance, because you don't want your grandkids on the assistance. It's like, this is about your bloodline. When you read the Bible is about a bloodline that leads to Christ and salvation. Everything that they were doing back from the days of Abraham to the days of Joseph to the days of David. That's why I used to get frustrated reading the scriptures and like numbers and stuff. There's like, and Akabad begat shish kebab, and shish kebab begat potato salad, and like all these names, right? And then I realized something. I was literally thinking about this week. You need to understand where you came from so you can understand where you're going.